at the end of the day, I was someone who loved the game, but I loved the competition more than anything. I despised losing, and I was I was a driven person, and I'm still driven today, Larry. To be honest with you, I love to compete, and even though I'm 77 years old, I don't feel like it, don't act like it, and I'm still competitive, and that's what still drives me today. And I think an awful lot of it was because of my childhood. Nothing was given to me in my life.
Right.
I had to learn everything, and I think when you feel that, I think somewhere along inside of you, you learn all these lessons. And I said I learned an awful lot by losing, and particularly losing when for our fans in Los Angeles and how great they were to us. It was just just an incredible ride for me, to be honest with you. The way people have treated me in Los Angeles and embraced me, I'm forever grateful that. And I don't think the people really know how I felt about our fans and how they embrace not only me but our franchise.
And let me ask you about that, because I would say, if people ask me about Jerry West, I'd say he's a bit guarded. That maybe
Yes.
you didn't open yourself up to the fans or let people know who you were along the way. Why do you think that is? I mean, you had so much going for you. People loved you so much in the Los Angeles area. You would think that you would just bask in that glory. But here's one of your quotes from the book. It says, "The high opinion others may have had of Jerry West has never been shared by me. I don't allow it." Why not?
Well, again, Larry, the greatest word in the world to me is humility, and I see so many people who have success that just don't have it. And we're lucky to be the athletes and people who succeed in life are lucky to be given a chance to do something. And if you're given a chance and you're able to build a career, regardless of what life is in, I just think it's something that I learned at a very early age. This wasn't about me. This was about a bunch of guys trying to win. And maybe I had some influence on winning, but as I say, adulation is not something that I feel comfortable with and never will feel comfortable with. And I think for me, the thing I always cared about, I loved the players I played with. I didn't care who they were. If they were tougher guys or guys that you didn't particularly like as athletes, you tried to embrace them in a locker room. And I just don't like, I like continuity of a franchise. I like continuity of teams. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make in this league, they keep hiring and firing coaches.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Larry, the people who do that continually, they're the ones that should be fired, not the coaches, because they've hired them in the first place. But I just believe that it's really important for me to remember where I came from, and the only way I can do that is remember the word humility.
You had such success in Los Angeles. I know there were some difficulties with Phil Jackson. You didn't feel that he respected you. I know there was some communication breakdown with Jerry Buss towards the end there. But putting that all together, Jerry, how difficult was it for you to actually decide to leave the Laker organization?
Probably the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, Larry.
Really?
I think we all. Oh yeah. I think I'm very realistic about things. Most people don't realize that we have a shelf life at one place, and my shelf life was up there. There were things that I didn't like internally up there that I didn't think were consistent with what the Lakers had done for years. And I just felt maybe I had gotten to the point where, I expected everyone to treat everyone the same way. And this was no knock against anyone. It was just me. But at the end of the day, it was about me just being so consumed and so overwhelmed by the winning involved, because we had created something real special there over the period of time, and our fans expected us to win at a high level. But it was time for me to go. And when I left there, I said, the only thing that I want to do in my life, I want to work for the worst team in basketball, because frankly, I got tired of hearing, just because you work at the Lakers, you guys have been lucky. And honestly, I believed that I was better than people thought I was. And I never said that publicly, but I will tell you, I thought I was better at my job than others. And I wanted to go somewhere. I went to Memphis, probably the best 5 years I spent in my life that were down there, in terms of me testing myself to see if I was any good where I could help make a difference. And at the end of the day, I think we did.
Oh, you were good, and you still are. Let's go back to the '72 championship season, the 33-game win streak. Bill Sharman as the head coach. What's your best memory from that season, Jer?
Well, again, I can compare it to our Warriors season. It's magical. The only negative thing for me, Larry, is I think after 7 or 8 games or 9 games, Elgin Baylor retired.
Yep.
And he's someone I loved as a person. One of the greatest people I've ever been around in my life, and more importantly, someone that I shared a lot of heartache with in some of the games that we lost that were meaningful not only to the two of us but to our team and also to people in Los Angeles. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God. I said, I guess I'm going to be next. And but anyway, and then when all of a sudden, we started winning and we couldn't lose. And after a while, you got to the point where you knew it was a special special kind of a group of players. We could win a game anyway, a physical game, a high-scoring game, a low-scoring game. We could win anyway. Yeah. And this was a team that looked like finally destiny was on its side, and it proved that way out.
On the flip side of things, in the 60s, you lost to Boston 6 times in the finals. And you say in your book that still haunts you, and you still hate green, and you won't visit the city of Boston. Is that true?
Well, I haven't been to the city of Boston, and I will tell you right now, the fans there are fantastic.
Yes,
they always treated us so well, and particularly me. And that's more of a, I guess, fallacy than anything. But I do not have anything green in my closet. I'll say that.
As your role as the general manager, what was the toughest cut you've ever had to make, Jer?
Probably the worst thing I ever had to do, and almost seemed like forced to do it, was Nick Van Exel, trading him to Denver. He's one of my favorite players of all time. He obviously didn't, he wasn't very happy with me because I would try to, from a different position as a GM, try to get him to understand that, certain things you just have to do in this league to survive. And I said, you got to be able to live with your coaches, you got to live with your teammates. And there's just a whole bunch of things that happened that would not allow that to go forward. But the thing I liked about him, he had an unbelievably difficult life.
Yes.
As a growing up, he was so competitive, and at the end of the day, that was one of the sad things for me. The other one, very similar, was Norm Nixon.
Yeah.
Norm Nixon, and it would just I just in the course of the year, he and Magic Johnson they both needed the ball to be successful, and even though we won a championship. I said, Jerry Buss and I talked about it. I said, I don't call Magic Johnson. I always called him Irvin Johnson.
Right.
And he was Magic Johnson when he had the ball in his hands. When he played, he was Irvin Johnson. And I think our fans got to expect Magic Johnson instead of Irvin Johnson. I think it was just they were too similar in the way they played the game. They needed the ball to be successful, and those were 2 horrible days for me, and I'll never forget that Jack Nicholson, who, of course, Ben was an incredible Laker fan. I don't know where he is today, but he doesn't come to all the games today. But he wore black, I think, for a solid month, and he and I finally had to talk about it. And anyway, those were the 2 most difficult things. And at the end of the day, I don't enjoy stuff like that, but the criticism that's directed toward you, some nasty words are saying you can't respond to people like that. You have to try to do what's best for the franchise. And at that point in time, I think it turned out to be what was best for our franchise. And I'm not saying I was right, but it was best for the franchise.
And you didn't have to worry about Facebook and Twitter back then either.
Well, that's okay. I don't mind it. I'm too, I've always said that whatever people want to say negative about you, that's fine, because they've said a lot more positive things. And I think balance in life is the most important thing. And I think when an athlete gets to the point in life, or someone who's been in the athletic world or been in front of the camera and in the newspaper, that it's about balance. We can't be perfect, and none of us are perfect. And I think criticism sometimes was the greatest elixir for me of all. It made me more competitive.
Interesting.
And I did not write, and I really didn't care what people wrote after a while. And because where I grew up, everyone tried to treat everyone nicely, but not anymore. That doesn't exist.
Jerry West, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on Open Season. I wish you good luck. I hope you can enjoy the success that you're having up there in Golden State, and I hope we get to talk again sometime soon.
Well, great to talk to you, Larry.
Thanks so much.
And continue good luck. Bye-bye.
I really appreciate that. Jerry West with us here on Open Season. We'll take a quick time out and then back with more on KCAA AM 1050.